Once again, we welcome all of you to be with us this morning. Una vez más, damos gracias. Damos la bienvenida por estar con nosotros esta mañana. Celebrando el Día de los Padres, as we celebrate Father's Day. The psalmist here, or the writer, Solomon, he wrote many of these Proverbs. Many of them were regarding wisdom, piety, humbleness, honesty, being a person with character, and mostly giving instruction as a father. And as fathers, that's what we do. We give instruction to our children. Aquí Salomón escribió muchos de estos proverbios y escribe sobre el tema de sabiduría, humildad, honestidad, temiendo a Dios o temer a Dios, da instrucción como un padre a sus hijos. Y así es como debe de ser. El padre debería de instruir sus hijos. A father should instruct his children. And we as fathers do well in doing this. Y como padres hacemos bien en instruyendo a nuestros hijos. Porque Dios los dio. God gave them to us. And we must watch over them. Look over them for their protection, for their needs. Y estas son buenas instrucciones porque como padre esto es lo que debemos de hacer. Cuidar de vuestros hijos, enseñar a vuestros hijos, darles dirección. Esto viene en mente al ejemplo que tenemos en la palabra de Dios de Noé. This brings to me in mind Noah, the example. Noah was a man of God who feared God. And during the time when God told him, build an ark, Noah was obedient to that command. Esto me viene en mente de Noé. Dios le ordenó que construyera una arca. Noé, siendo hombre de Dios, obediente, construyó esa arca. Noah, being a man of God and faithful to God, built that ark. We as fathers should try to also take that example within our family. That our family may be a family that fears God and follow the Word of God. Y vosotros como hijos, como padres, deberemos de igualmente tomar ese ejemplo de Noé. De escuchar la palabra de Dios y ser obedientes. Y lo que el Señor nos diga, nos manda, nos dirige a hacerlo. Porque Él también, como nuestro Padre, quiere lo mejor y quiere la protección para vosotros. Aleluya. Because God, as our Father, He wants the same for us as His children. Our protection, our salvation, blessings upon their children. I can only imagine when Noah was building the ark. Solo me puedo imaginar cuando Noé estaba construyendo el arca. I remember when I was a kid, and I would watch my dad do things, and my siblings, my brothers, and would go, "What's Dad doing? He's crazy. Did Dad lose his mind? What's he doing that for?"
Hallelujah.
When Noah was building an ark, Did you see what Dad's doing? I used to do it when I was a kid too. And I know my kids do the same thing. I think my dad lost it. Who knows what he's doing over there. Cuando éramos niños, veíamos a mi papá que estaba haciendo cosas y iba con mis hermanos. ¿Qué trae mi papá? ¿Qué está haciendo? ¿Quién sabe? Ya se le fue la mente el pobre. No sabe lo que anda haciendo. Me imagino eso lo que estaba sucediendo cuando Noah estaba construyendo esa arca. Mamá, ¿qué trae mi papá? ¿Qué está haciendo? Pues, ¿quién sabe? Pregúntale, mijo. No, yo no voy a preguntar. What's my dad doing, Mom? I don't know. Go ask him. I'm not going to ask him. I remember one time, my brother Jacob and I were tagged along with my father and my older brother Peter, who they both rest in peace, with a friend of theirs. We had a friend. My father had a friend named Fuzzy. My father used to call him the crazy Jew. He was Jewish. And this man was smart. I could tell you stories about him. He thought about wireless back in the 70s. He had that concept already. He was already thinking about that. And he served in World War II, and he was telling the stories of what he would do to fix. He was in the Air Corps, and to fix planes, what they would do. And he was the one that I heard that term, necessity is the mother of invention. They needed to do something. They needed to get those planes on the air, in the air, and they would fix them and just, what they say, Mickey Mouse, but it would make them work. So one day, we go to Palm Springs, we have dinner, we have breakfast before we go there, and we meet Fuzzy in Palm Springs at one of the restaurant casinos, one of the first ones that was out there. And go to the parking lot, and we meet Fuzzy there. His hair was all over the place. Great guy though. And he goes, "Come on, Pedro, let's go in here." And we go to the doors, the entrance, and this burly guy, Italian guy, opens the door. And we were like, "Oh man, what is this?" These guys look like they were mafia guys. We didn't know at the time, but that's what we go. "Oh, you guys are mafia guys." Fuzzy, Leonard, his name was, invited my dad, and he told him, he worked it up, and he said, "Hey, these guys want to invest in your church," because my father was a pastor, and they want to give you money so you can build a church. And my dad was like, "Are you sure?" And he just made it that, really a good story. So we get there, my father and Fuzzy and my brother go with this character to the other side of the restaurant, and he tells us, "Oh, here, have Cokes or whatever." And my brother and I were like, "Hey, that guy, he looks funny. He looks like a mobster." He goes, "Yeah, he does." So after about 15-20 minutes, my dad comes, my brother just start walking out, and we see him. He goes, "Come on, kids." And Leonard, Fuzzy, is saying, "But Pedro, wait, Pedro, wait." My dad walks out of the building, and he walks out. We get to the car, and Fuzzy comes over to us, and he goes, Pedro, this is a good deal." He goes, "What's the matter with you, you crazy Jew? Are you trying to kill us or what?" He goes, "What? It's a good deal." He goes, "No, I'm not going to launder money for the mafia." This is back in 1972. Okay. "Are you crazy? You trying to kill me or what?" He wanted to use the church as a laundry scheme. "You can buy the biggest church, a bigger church, Pedro." He goes, "You're crazy, Fuzzy. Get out of here." From that, I learned a lot from my father. I learned character. No le voy a decir la historia, pero supe mucho más de mi padre, de su carácter, quién era. Esos hombres querían usar la iglesia para hacer sus negocios. That's who our fathers should be. Men of character. Men who give us direction. I know they're not perfect. None of us are perfect. But that's who we should be as fathers. And as Noah here was building this ark and his kids were making fun of him, as I made fun of my father and my kids make fun of me, but it's all for their betterment, for their protection, for a better life for them. Because that's what a loving father should do. Pero como Noé, cuando Noé estaba construyendo esa arca, y los hijos pensaban que estaba loco, cuando estábamos en ese momento y estábamos hablando después, decíamos, mi papá estaba loco, ¿qué quería con ese hombre de la mafia? You know, afterwards we commented, my dad was crazy. What do you want to do with that mafia guy? My dad's really losing it now. Pero esos son los hombres de carácter, hermanos. Y Noé era un hombre de carácter. Quería lo mejor para su familia. Quería proteger su familia. He also wanted the protection of his family. He wanted the salvation for his family. God invited them into the ark. If you read Genesis chapter 7. En Génesis capítulo 7. Dios los invita a la arca. Que entren a la arca. God invites them to enter into the ark. God provides salvation. Dios abre las puertas de bendición para sus hijos. God opens the door of salvation for his children. God had Noah build an ark. Dios ordenó a Noé que construyera esta arca. Lo ordenó. He commanded him. But God also commanded Jesus Christ to die on the cross, to bring us salvation, to bring the whole world salvation. Not just one family, but all humanity now. Dios igualmente ordenó a Jesucristo que fuera a morir en la cruz. Para proveer la salvación para todo el mundo. No solo para una familia, pero ahora para todos. Not just for one family, but for all humanity. And just as in that day when he called that family to come and enter into salvation, today he is also calling everyone, all humanity, through Jesus Christ, to enter into salvation. Praise be the name of Jesus. Praise God. Those of us who do not have our fathers no more, once again, as I have said, let us thank God for him. The Father that he gave us. They weren't perfect, but at least he provided. Todos aquellos que ya no tenemos nuestros padres, demos gracias a Dios por nuestros padres que nos dieron. No eran perfectos, pero proveyeron por nosotros. Those of you who still have your fathers, be glad. Amen. Be thankful. Amen. Honor him. Encourage him. I'm sure sometimes he feels down. I'm sure sometimes he feels, nothing more for me to do. I just wither away. Tell him, Dad, no, you're still loved. We still want to honor you. You still matter in our lives. And we love you. Those are the best words a father can hear. And a son. My father, as you know, was an orphan. And he had trouble saying, I love you. As a child, he never heard those words many times. Mi padre fue huérfano, como saben ustedes, y esa palabra no la escuchamos muchas veces. No eran cercanos la familia que lo cuidó. And at first my dad had a problem with saying I love you to us. But later in life, he did say it, and he would say it to us. And I thank the Lord for that. Hearing those words coming from my father. And in return, we would say to him, I love you, Dad. Te amo, Papa. Those are the sweetest words I can hear. I say it today, if your father is still around, tell it to him. Say it to him. Because believe me, he will feel your love. And he will feel that care that you have for him. Even though you don't get along with him, just go and humble yourself and say, Dad, I know we don't get along, but I love you anyways. Because believe me, as children of God, we're not perfect children. But God still loves us. Hallelujah. Porque como hijos de Dios no somos perfectos, pero Dios todavía nos ama. Alabado sea el nombre de Dios. To God be the glory. And thank God for our fathers. He said this to us. John chapter 14, very well known verse. Just as he prepared that ark of salvation for all humanity, he has gone to prepare a home for us also. Así como él preparó esa arca para toda la humanidad, por medio de Jesucristo, nos ha preparado una mansión.
Hallelujah.
He has prepared a mansion for us, he says. John chapter 14, San Juan capítulo 14. No se turbe vuestro corazón, creed en Dios, creed también en mí. En la casa de mi Padre hay muchas moradas. Si así no fuera, yo os hubiera dicho, voy pues a preparar lugar para vosotros. Para vosotros. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you so. I go to prepare a place for you.
Hallelujah.
I go to prepare a place for you. Why does he do that? Because he loves us. And he wants us to dwell with him. Praise God. Eternally.
Hallelujah.
¿Por qué hace esto? Porque nos ama y quiere que eternamente moremos con él. Gloria a Dios. To God be the glory. Let us stand up.